It's a bull. Good afternoon. Hey, what's up? This is Brian Kuzma with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in Lauderdale by the Sea. And Murky, that's probably the best way we can describe the water today in the Lauderdale by the Sea, or I should say, I'm sorry, the Deerfield Beach underwater live cam, murky. But that can also describe exactly what we heard today with the Fed Powell jawboning was murky. And that's the best way you could describe his talk as well. It looks exactly like the ocean does right now. And in murky environments, things aren't so clear, obviously. And that's exactly, again, what we've got going on. However, I think it's pretty clear that the Fed has no clear picture. We certainly do, because we recognize it for what it is. Pure jawboning, and today they couldn't even do that correctly. Let's get into what I'm talking about right now and take a look at markets as well. Real interesting observation here, folks. I've been talking about platinum for some time, and oddly enough, yesterday and this morning, platinum's flashing green while gold and silver were flashing red. And look what's happened here. I think platinum. Take a look for yourself. Look at the data here. I'm pretty sure I'm right. And again, this is easy for me because I'm staring at this frickin' screen 5 days a week, every day, pretty much. So I'm always looking at the precious metals markets and when they're open. And I spotted that little trend. It looks like platinum was a little tell. It seems to be, at least today. Again, platinum was in the green today early, and it was in the green yesterday, while silver and gold both were in the red. And look what we got here. So something going on with that. Or maybe it's just a pure coincidence. That happens too. Well, let's take a look at the markets here. And again, this is strictly with, wasn't sure what to expect yesterday when I had done yesterday's video. I mean, you're never sure what to expect when when the Fed comes out and talks. They don't release the what they're going to say beforehand. I mean, you can guess, and the pundits guess, and all the media guesses, and everybody guesses what he might say. But except for us, or people that have realized that all they've done is jawbone markets for years and years and years and years. And I don't know why the pundits and the mainstream corporate media hasn't figured that out yet. They sit there and they wait and they pontificate upon it, no less. Murky is the best way you could describe it. They weren't even focused on yes or no. And like I said, I'm going to just talk about a few key points here on Powell's speech. Keep it real short there. Let's look at markets overnight. 1788.94 the low, 1808.74 the high, with gold currently sitting at 1806, and silver 23.39 the low, high at 23.97. Currently sitting at 23.97, almost popping that again. That looks like it's at its high right now. Up in New York currently, almost hitting that $24 mark, and gold again pretty handily broke that 18 mark. I suspect if Powell had come out and jawbone that they were pretty certain they were going to raise rates, then we would have seen a weaker market and potentially some big monkey hammering in precious metals. But we didn't hear that today, and a lot of people kind of expected that they were going to talk about raising rates and coming up soon. But I kind of figured they were going to, with the C19 variant, the D variant that's out there, I was pretty certain they were going to use that as an excuse to not do it, and that's kind of what they alluded to more or less, that the data, the metrics just aren't there quite yet. No less. Markets are up today. That's good for us. I'm pretty sure, unless some new news comes out today or some new data we're not expecting, I don't see it any major monkey happening. I don't see any major monkey hammering happening on Sunday night or Monday morning. So that dip may not materialize. And don't get me wrong, you are going to have dips coming up here soon. But let's just see what happens with markets above this 18 level and 24 and how long they can hold. And that'll be a tell. I think next week will be a good indication of where we're heading for at least a little while. Let's see, platinum, again, as I said, up yesterday. It does have a low of 980.61 and a 1,008 high. I think, what did it close at yesterday in New York? I forget, but I believe when I looked last night and this morning that platinum again was flashing green and gold and silver were in the red, which is a little pattern that I've noticed is that platinum seems to be a signal that when platinum's been up, it seems shortly thereafter gold has gone up and silver as well. Just an observation. Again, don't mean to sound redundant. Let's see if that holds true here in the future. Again, coincidental, or maybe not. Let's take a look at the news out there. What did Powell say, more or less? This is ZH here, and let's just highlight some of his speech from Bloomberg. Bloomberg says that Powell says progress on jobs since July. And again, murky, folks, murky. Progress on jobs since July FOMC data, but Delta has spread. And, oh boy, let me see, almost lost my battery there. Hang on, I'm going to plug in and take a sip of coffee. So, just as I had just mentioned a moment ago, the D variant seems to be a great scapegoat for why they're not. We know why they're not going to raise rates, folks. A couple good reasons. First off, if they raise rates, it costs the government more to borrow money, I believe. That could be a factor as well. However, governments can find ways to borrow money without the Fed, perhaps. I don't know. Are they that smart? And yeah, maybe if you cut your maybe you cut spending, but I don't think they are that smart. So progress on jobs since FOMC, but D variant has spread. So there, scapegoat right there. Powell says cannot take for granted transitory inflation will fade. That's kind of interesting that he said that, because all indications have been that they feel that it will. Also, he down here kind of contradicts that statement. Look, cannot take for granted transitory inflation will fade. Well, if Powell says that, he's basically saying, well, maybe we're wrong about this transitory inflation. Maybe this inflation is going to last and be long-standing. However, down here he says long-term inflation expectations consistent with the 2% goal. What the F does that mean? I just don't know. It seems to contradict himself a little bit there, but that's not uncommon. That's what governments and central bankers do. So let's take a look at the next thing that Powell says. Sees continued job progress, inflation back to goal. And mind you, all these things that he's saying right here, murky. Think about the comments. They're really not, he's not definitively saying anything at all. He's just kind of saying something. So probably the murkiest, not even hinting at anything per se. When they're going to clamp down, when they're going to end QE, when they're going to raise interest rates. And this is not a free marketplace, folks. This is a marketplace driven by elite bankers. This is not a free market capitalism this is crony capitalism, maybe even worse. This is kind of like a dictator capitalism. People don't realize that these folks are controlling their lives by manipulating markets, and that's true, creating huge bubbles as well. However, we will profit from that, unfortunately, with precious metals. And I don't mean unfortunately, but, not that, you don't want to see a country and a currency go to hell and feel good about profiting from that. However, we're not. What we do when we're buying gold and silver is it's wealth preservation, because even though you're preserving your wealth here, folks, the rest of the world is going to hell in a handbasket. So that's not a good thing overall. Let's take a look at the next. Sees continued job progress, inflation back to goal. As I said, that's just ridiculous. Inflation back to goal. Again, he contradicts himself here and here. Inflation back, a goal to 2%, and then he says up here you can't take transitory inflation will fade. Again, completely contradictory in my opinion. Current inflation a concern, but likely to be temporary. What? However, he can't take for granted transitory inflation will fade. I guess we can always default to that statement. Yeah, this is good, this is good, this is good. Yeah, but I did say that. So, I don't know, man. Much ground to cover to reach maximum employment. And really, folks, if you look at what the maximum employment is, the employment figures we got right now is not because of a booming economy, it's because of a dead cat bounce economy. That's the best way I could describe it. We're in a dead cat bounce economy. Of course we're going to get jobs back. Of course spending is going to come up. After the draconian closures that we had in 2020, unconstitutional draconian closures, in my opinion, that really screwed us up economically even worse. I think it didn't screw up corporate the world as bad as it did the small and small mom and pop businesses and the smaller businesses out there. The closures did not hurt the big corporate world because they were protected from it. Their pizza companies made a fortune. Coca-Cola, whoever owns those pizza companies, the media made a fortune. People were captive audience. All the big corporations made money because they're in bed with the government. Who really suffered for the last couple of years were small businesses and people that enjoyed working and were trying to get ahead and weren't looking for a measly government handout. But I digress, as I usually do. Let me move over here. Ill-timed policy move could be particularly harmful. Ill-timed, let me think this one. This Powell says ill-timed policy move could be particularly ill-timed. How about just a bad policy could be particularly harmful? Not ill-timed, just bad policy. No, hold on. Let me rephrase this to what I would say. Not ill-timed policy could be particularly harmful. Bad policy is harmful, and that's exactly what we've got going on with the Fed and our government. Bad policy. So let's move along from there. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me on that. Again, the D variant poses near-term risk, but job prospects are good. Well, folks, it's pretty much sure. It looks like we're over the hill or on the downward trend as far as that D variant goes. As far as job prospects go, again, dead cat reemployment, and that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Industry jobs that did survive it, mostly on the corporate level, that were able to hold it together. A lot of the small and mom pop businesses got really killed, but other than that, and teachers maybe, and some other industries, again, dead cat employment bounce, in my opinion. And then down here, what we said. Which is they've been saying for how long has Powell been saying? Long-term inflation expectations consistent with 2% goal. I think the biggest thing that we can take away from all of this that Powell in this statement left himself a caveat here. He left himself an out. And which of these statements did he leave himself an out? This one right here. Oh, I cannot take for granted transitory inflation will fade. That's the biggest statement in all of these, 3, 6, 7, 8 statements that I see here that Powell made today. The most important one is his out for when we, not when we know, because we know it's not transitory, folks. We know inflation's not only is it coming up and it's here, but it's been here for quite some time. We've seen this for years. So to kind of pretend it's not, that's what the Fed's always done. They always pretended that the inflation rate was much lower than it really is. We've known that prior to the closures. So all BS, and I don't know BS, really. He just said nothing again. Again, the best takeaway you can come away from this was, in that whole murky speech, was this: cannot take for granted transitory inflation will fade. I'm going to move along from here. Good article here we're going to read real quick. And let's just take a look at ZH and see what's going on out there real quick, and any other news has popped up since then. I waited a little late to do the show. I just wanted to see what Powell said before I talked about what was happening today in precious metal prices. Oh, and I didn't flip the coin at the start. I'll do that at the end for you coin flippers out there that may be betting on my coin flip. This ends the debate. I don't want to talk about that outright, so let's avoid that, and let's kind of just move down the nothing good here, folks. That's a good deal right there, I think, possibly, if that's true. Look at that crowds still throng. Boy, this is just a bad thing. But, I got to wonder, too, is this a diversion? Are we missing something else we should be watching because we're watching this? A lot of times that does happen out there. They get your attention on something big and that you can't take your eyes off of. Meanwhile, they got their hand in your back pocket. Maybe they're trying to keep our attentions off this $2 to $4 trillion bill they're trying to pass. A good way to do that is war, that's for sure, and people getting killed, sadly enough. The thing with D.C. and the military-industrial complex, they never cared about these people to start with. Now all of a sudden it's a big deal. Give me a break. Let's move along from here. That's just sad. I don't even want to comment on that. I don't know what your opinion is, but let me move. Nothing too much, really. Market reacts to Powell's dovish comments. Oh, actually, I just quoted that article right there, and it was well done. I appreciate that. I think that was one of the Tyler Durden articles out there. Powell says blah, 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 blah. You notice when I talk about Powell, it's blah, 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 blah. And that's kind of, like I said, murky blah, blah, blahs. We got that again. Could be, oh, listen, this is before he talked today. Powell says, could be appropriate. So he said this before he did his talk today. Wow. Well, talk about confusion. Talk about murky. I mean, gosh, these fish right here have a less murky picture than we do. And you know what happens when there's murky stuff out there, man? You can't see the predators as well. And there's lots of predators out there. Good article. The American Institute for Economic Research. I've been reading them for a while. I've not really brought them up too much on this on my videos, only because they're long, usually long articles. However, it's a free site. You can donate to it, and it's extremely intelligent. Whatever you read on here is going to be far better than what you're going to read on Bloomberg. As far as economics and politics, you will learn more honest or real stuff here on this website than you will on Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, and the other corporate media lapdogs as well. All of them combined. You'll learn more on the great site. And let me just read this. The great inflation debate is missing why inflation matters. Because, of course, this is what we've been just talking about for a few minutes. This is done by Alexander William Salter. Nice article, sir. Appreciate it. And not too long, so I'm going to kind of read this one real quick, and pardon me if I speed read it. You can slow down the video or rewind it if you want to listen. Even better, I always prefer that you folks read this stuff for yourself. I mean, because for me, listening, well, some people like to listen. They learn better that way, but for me, the visual aspect of it is more powerful. And you can kind of go over key things again, whereas I may not rewind and go back over it, and you may miss some context and stuff. Well, the battle between inflation hawks and doves is heating up. He says the year-over-year change in the consumer price index is 5.4%, significantly above the average. And of course, that's what we're seeing out there because of supposedly the D variant and the closures and stuff. This figure from the end of July comes from after several months of economy-wide price hikes. But does this portend high inflation for the foreseeable does this portend high inflation for the foreseeable future? Or will inflation come back down soon? Furthermore, what's at stake in this debate? Okay. At National, I didn't have to read you that. You could have read that yourself. Let me try to get to the meat of this, because again, I don't want to be like a reading service here, more or less. Let's see here. At National Review's Capital Matters page, Ramesh Ponnuru helpfully breaks down the difference between team endemic and team transitory. Like Ramesh, I am team transitory. As the supply side bottlenecks continue to ease, production will pick up and prices will slow the rate of increase. The Fed is increasingly signaling that it will taper off its asset purchases. And again, they signal that, but really not today. It was kind of murky. Which complements supply side disinflationary forces with demand side deflationary policy. Market forecasts of inflation years into the future also predict inflation falling back to levels closer to the historic level. So kind of, again, what Powell was saying there is that he sees that they're on target for their 2%. And the market forecast that he's looking at, or that they're creating, obviously forecasts that as well, I guess, or falling back closer to its historical averages. So let's move along here. It's understandable that people are starting to panic about inflation, especially workers who haven't seen their wages keep pace with price growth elsewhere in the economy. And we've seen this for years and years and years. 20 or 30 years. I believe that mechanics and plumbers and these guys, now correct me if I'm wrong, it may be more than they were getting paid before. However, they're getting paid not too. I know nurses aren't getting too far off from what they got 10 and 20 years ago and longer. So wages have not kept up with anything, and that's pretty obvious. So when you've got inflation just going up and up and up, and you're making the same amount, the cost of living just becomes unbearable for a lot of people. And again, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to digress there. I'm just adding my opinion. That's what I do. But this won't last forever. You usually can't renegotiate wages as output prices, which is why nominal, meaning current dollar value, and real wages diverge in the short run. But once contract periods expire, workers should be able to bargain for compensation in the neighborhood of the value they add to the production process, unless there has been permanent changes to labor productivity. Inflationary reductions in real wages are temporary. And again, this stuff is a little heady, folks. Sorry about that. I recommend that if you're kind of a little confused on some of the terms and things here, just go back and read it yourself. And if you get a little confused, do what I do. Go on an Investopedia and look up the financial term. You'll be smarter than the average bear for doing this. Trust me on this. And again, I usually like to keep these reads a little more simpler. This is a small consolation to those having a harder time making ends meet. They might feel like they're being robbed. And that's just what I said. It makes it makes trying to keep up impossible at some point when the cost of living goes way above what you're actually making on a year-to-year basis. So. Boy, I'm being redundant here. He mentioned that afterwards. I didn't even need to say it. Sorry about that. They might feel, okay, it's important to realize, however, that the implicit redistribution taking place isn't between workers and government. It's between workers and employers. Higher than anticipated inflation means businesses are temporarily getting cheaper labor. Some final goods and services prices are rising. Businesses are getting a windfall. The losses to work are probably balance the gain to employees, meaning there's little, if any, efficiency on net. Government only makes money on inflation to the extent, and this was a powerful statement here, government only makes money on inflation to the extent everyone in the economy continues to holding cash. If they diversify their wealth into other assets, the government won't be able to transfer much purchasing power by creating money. So, government makes money on the extent everyone wants to hold cash. I don't know if that necessarily is true. I'd have to say that government makes money when people spend cash, because when people spend cash, what they're doing is government gets the money, not the banks. They're getting the taxes that are involved in making the product, selling the product, bringing the product to market, road taxes, you name it, sales taxes. So I think they could have added that to this article here. Economists call the revenues from money creation seigniorage, a throwback to when issuing money was a prerogative of the nobility. Whatever Uncle Sam is making in seigniorage, it pales comparison to, say, federal tax revenues. If citizens are getting robbed, it isn't by the Fed. Well, wow, let's take a look at what else he says here. What's worrisome about inflation isn't its magnitude, but its predictability. The noisier the pricing process, the harder it is for producers and consumers to coordinate with each other. Here's the real inefficiency from inflation. When it's hard to forecast, we have to devote more resources to protecting ourselves against it. That means less wealth to enjoy in other ways. Whether the purchasing power of the dollar is predictable depends on whether the central bank is rule-bound. The Fed isn't. As mentioned, it does have an average inflation target, meaning it shoots for 2% inflation on average over the long run, but this isn't very reassuring. First, the rule is self-chosen, which means if a push comes to shove, it's unlikely to bind. Second, the Fed is giving itself leeway to make mistakes today by promising to make up for mistakes tomorrow. This is only beneficial if the Fed is a competent monetary manager. And for anyone who's been paying attention to monetary policy in the 21st century, competent isn't the list of adjectives that plausibly describe the Fed. And I would have to agree with that. We talk about that all the time. There's a few things I digress with this gentleman in the article. However, I mostly agree with that. The public debate over inflation is a great opportunity to focus on what really matters, subjecting monetary policy makers to the rule of law. Unfortunately, we're currently squandering the opportunity to repeat pop macroeconomic fallacies. We should care about inflation, but for very different reasons, as you'll hear from the man on the street, or economic and financial journals, for that matter. Policy outcomes such as inflation vary from quarter to quarter. Rules and processes are enduring. Let's talk more about the latter and less about the former. Now, Alexander William Salter is a associate professor of economics at Rawls College in Business, and obviously maybe a bit on the Keynesian side. He is definitely not a gold guy. So, because what he fails to mention here is that he says here that what really matters is subjecting monetary policymakers to the rule of law. What he forgets here is that the rule of law is made by politicians, and who is going to hold them accountable? Supposedly, the whole idea of the Fed prior to this, and again, this is where I disagree with this gentleman. The whole idea of the Fed prior to this is that they wouldn't be beholden to politicians. And they have been, and they are really, because they get appointed by them. But no less, the whole idea was that they wouldn't be beholden to politicians and they could make independent decisions. Why? Because politicians weren't to be trusted. So this gentleman kind of contradicts, in my opinion, what really, the one thing that we can trust, and I think that Alexander Salter left out of this article, the one thing we can trust is using gold as a backing our currency with gold. It was, again, you couldn't get the credit expansion that you needed, but you could if you did a fractional, if you just back some of your currency in gold at least, or raise the price of gold more or less, which would probably naturally happen in a good economy. But no less, there is a lot of ways to workarounds to a gold standard, and a lot of the modern economists, they don't really get that, and he looks like a younger guy, and I'm not quite sure he gets that. But good article, and I'm going to hit that front page for you so you can bookmark this for yourself, because there's a lot of good stuff in here you can read. And let's move along to gata.org today. Not too much to talk about. I did like this. Where is it? There we go. I didn't say I don't like this per se, but Eurozone finances have deteriorated. Well, I kind of expected that. And what is the result of that right here is this article down here. More than likely, inflation where Germans are loading up on gold. I think their interest rates are like negative, I believe, or their bonds are negative as well. So where do you put your money as a German citizen? Well, they've known gold for a long time. Germans are smart, and they're starting to buy a lot of gold. Let's take a look. I'll just click that article and read this. Many gold investors might be fretting over the prospect of the Federal Reserve curbing monetary stimulus, which they're not doing, but Germans are still loading up. And I guess many gold investors are not fretting today. So, demand for physical bullion in Germany, traditionally the biggest coin and bar buyer in Europe, that I didn't know. I didn't know the Germans were the largest coin and bar buyers in Europe, but that's cool to hear. Was the highest since 2009 and the first half of 2021, World Gold Council data says. While purchases in other Western markets have also been strong, Germans in particular are pouring into the metal as a hedge against rising inflation, and dealers say business remains good. We have a long history of inflation fear in our DNA. I guess this is the German dealer talking. Now the inflation risk is picking up, says Raphael Scherrer, a managing director at metals dealer Filoro Edelmetall, GmbH, which gold, that's a long one, whose gold sales are up 25%. So yeah, they're seeing, I guess the German citizens are kind of taking a look and seeing the writing on the wall, and obviously they're their largest gold buyers in Europe, so that's kind of interesting to see as well. Might explain what we're seeing today. Hey, let's take a quick update and see what gold's doing right now. Up or down, up or down. It is up a couple bucks, and silver almost hovering in that 24 range. All right, let's go over yesterday's video here. Monkey hammered by Monday. That was my thought before Powell's speech yesterday. I'm thinking, man, you notice I put a question mark here because you just don't know these things. I wasn't going to make a definitive, oh yeah, they're going to kill it this weekend. It would have been nice to see markets down a little bit. It'd been nice to see Powell jawbone the gold market down a little bit because it would have provided a good buying opportunity. I was hoping to buy some silver myself. Looks like I'm going to be buying on the upside, unless maybe I wait till Monday, but I don't see Monday getting any better unless some news comes out or something crazy happens. I don't see gold or silver getting monkey hammered over the week or Sunday night or the rest of today. But we'll see. You never know. Again, crazy things do happen. Let's talk about comments. Newest first. Yesterday's video again. I was just talking about what I thought was going to be, monkey hammer, possibility of monkey hammer, and a opportunity for some of you guys to buy the dip. But no, not today, and probably not Monday. But again, we'll see. I'd like to thank all you folks for watching here. And let's get up here. I got a DM from a comment, are there gold-backed cryptos? And I heard there's gold-backed cryptos. However, I don't want to own a gold-backed crypto. I want to own gold, man. I want to own bars and coins. I don't want to own something that I can't hold in my hand. Unless it's a stock from a company that I like or something like that. Again, if you're going to own gold, what's the point of owning it in a paper form or an electronic form? It's not for me. So I'm probably not a good guy to ask for that, tree climber. Thanks for watching. And it's all about wealth preservation. That's for sure, Sierra. Let's take a look here. Platinum 990 by Thursday to see. No, it didn't monkey hammer, damn it. Yeah, speaking of coffee, thanks, Joe. You always remind me that I have to have a sip of my coffee. Here it is right here. Excuse me one sec. Okay, experience yields perspective and wisdom. Okay, remember you're a dealer trained by my dad, and the average Joe was not. Greed is universal in human nature, and yes, CBS is bullshit mind control. Okay, not going to argue that point. And yeah, I've been in this business for a long time. I'm a second-generation dealer, and I do it every day. I've been watching gold and silver prices every day. Not many people realize this, but I'm also a rare coin and paper money expert as well. And I do jewelry and artwork. I got a pretty diverse education in different fields here. But my real expertise is going to be rare coins, paper money, and precious metals. So that would be my real expertise over most people. Thanks for watching, Celtic Knot. I appreciate that. John says, Brian, sad having to waste 34 minutes for 5 to 10 minutes of useful knowledge. I hope I wasn't too harsh. I don't remember, did you say something harsh a little while ago? I don't really, hey, this is like water off a duck's back kind of for me. I look at stuff as constructive criticism unless people just get nasty about it. Then, so, when people make comments out there, I read it. And again, it's about constructive criticism for me. The problem there, John, is just, I got to assume that not everybody is watching my videos all the time and that there's a lot of newer peeps coming up. And I really like to cater to the newer guy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but it's a fine line I got to walk here because I want to help the new guys all the time. And I can't do that unless I bring up certain points about, trying to buy from your local dealer and what else, what the best deals are and that kind of thing. But no less, I'm listening, and I'm always changing things, and I'm always moving things around. Hey, I'm doing the coin toss at the end here, so that's a big change. Thanks for watching, John. Appreciate it. And these videos are tough to do, John. I don't know if you ever tried to do a daily video. I've been doing it. I haven't taken a day off from this daily video, 5 days a week, except for holidays. I've never missed one for over a year and a half now. It's not easy to do too. You got to get up, and I just wing these things, man. There's going to be a comment out there. Yeah, I can tell. So these are not easy to just kind of do. For some reason, I've just gotten lucky being able to blab for as long as I have. Hey, thanks for watching again. And yeah, I got that it was a joke. See, I didn't realize that when that gentleman, NASA or something, the space guy, was saying CBSC. Bullshit. So, it went right over my head, but that's not uncommon, man. A lot of things go over my head sometimes. I got too much things in my head. Thanks for watching, Joey. D-Man, think you found a leading indicator for the price of gold, the price of platinum. Good call. D-Man, I don't know if you've been watching it too, but yeah, it seems like platinum's been leading the way. Platinum was down a little bit. Gold seemed to be down, and platinum was up. Gold seemed to be up. Seemed like it knew what its older brother gold was doing. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see how long that follows through. I'm going to keep an eye on it myself. Certainly did it yesterday and today. Justin, what they are not talking about, aggression from Russia and China, has been played down too much in the media. That's true. But you know what? We need to be friends with them, Justin, no matter what. Let them do what they want as long as they don't hurt us or hurt our friends. And again, if they hurt our friends, it's our friends' responsibility first to defend themselves. If they ask for our help, we go there. But meanwhile, what's wrong with peace, man? That's kind of what we need, you know. And the reason we don't have peace is because every country has a military-industrial complex that they need to feed that makes a fortune. Ours is going to be Pratt and Whitney and all Boeing and all these companies that make weapons. They're the ones that keep these things going. And they do it through lobbying. They do it through politicians. They do it through patriotism. And don't get me wrong in the patriotism thing, but they use patriotism as a way to promote wars and to promote blowing your money. You know, I'd rather have them give the money to someone need it than blow it at a war personally, and I'm not a big fan of the social welfare system as well. Anyway, thanks for watching, Justin. Michael, man, Michael, you're there a couple times today, and I'll get another sip of coffee here. Cloudler says, one of the main reasons to watch this podcast most days is the reading of articles. I can almost recite everything else. Well, yes, sir, you have a job, man. You can come and do this for me for a couple days because I need a break. Thanks for watching, Cloudler. And as you heard me just say a little while ago, yeah, you know, I can't assume that everyone has watched my shows more than a few times. I usually assume that it's new for people, but I kind of get it. I got to change up the format a little bit too, just for fun anyways. Hey, thanks for watching. Deep Teal, yeah, Astronaut 128, that's who I was thinking of, was meant as a joke, CBS. Thanks for watching, Deep Teal. I like that color too. Jeremy Barton, going to buy some silver at lunch. Good, I hope you got some. Sorry about, you know, I'm thinking that they might have monkey hammered it down maybe this weekend, but it doesn't look that way. Gee, what's up, dude? How's it going? And you've been buying 100-gram gold bars, 50-gram. I guess that's the way they sell them out there. You're in Dubai, if I remember you telling me here. Thanks for watching again. It's good to see you commenting. Lovely Leia. The crypto market is growing daily with new strategy. Trading crow. Is it me or is that? Oh no, that's a troll. That's a crypto troll. Oh gosh, you know they always start out with. If you ever watch, we tag them pretty good on our YouTube here, but they start out with they kind of stroke your ego a little bit. Love your videos, and then they go off into a little rant about you know, economies and inflation, and then they go into the crypto thing. Then they go into here. If I let this roll, you're going to see 29 comments on here, and it's all from the same person. So. Oh, anyway, hey, let's give him a thumbs down. There we go. No, okay, I'm not going to do that. Marcelo will take that off. Well, that's really about it, folks. This is the weekend wrap-up here. I usually have my buy local and my other thing up here, but today I'm going to tell you what I got on special here local for my local customers. I can sell you these beautiful 1-ounce Britannias, not this particular one or date, but nice Britannias. I got them brand new in rolls. I can sell them to you for the same price as 1-ounce generic silvers. Oh man, I just dropped my lucky bull and bear coin. Where did that thing go? Uh-oh, hang on a second, under the desk. Oh, gosh, all right. And so I got a good deal on these things. I can sell them for spot plus $275 or less, depending on how many you're buying. The other best deal out there that I have is 100-ounce bars. I can sell them for spot plus 3 or less. 90 is not a good deal right now, folks. If the premiums keep going up on 90, I'm going to recommend you sell your 90% and trade it in for a 999 product. Best deal out there, I've been saying for a long time, is buy the gold bars, but now KRs are within $5 of that price, so I'm going to suggest my local customers buy or order 1-ounce Krugerrands from me. Again, they're within $5 of the price of gold bars, and I like them for security reasons just a little bit better, and if you come in, I'll explain to you why. Well, that's really about it, folks. This is the weekend wrap-up. I'm going to go fishing this Sunday, so wish me luck. I hope the water clarity, well, you know, water clarity like this Water clarity like this is pretty good when you're out fishing because the predators are tending to strike because they can't see your line as well and what they're looking at. So if I can present a nice shiny or high contrast bait in this kind of murky water, they'll bite at it. And what kind of similar analogies can we make to that with people and our markets right now? I'm sure quite a few. You know me and my analogies. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. This is Brian Kuzmar with Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals at 954-493-8811. You can call me anytime between the hours of 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Mondays through Fridays. And come on down and visit me if you live in my area. And if you don't, I recommend you find yourself a good local dealer. They're out there. I am, and I'm competitive with the big three, APMEX, JM, and SD Bullion. I can usually beat their prices, as you know. Not saying anything bad about those companies, but I'm a competitive local guy. And I hope you find a good one in your neighborhood, too, if you don't live in my area. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye now.